This guy just got murdered for scoring an own goal. What? And did you know one of the best French footballers was in a bizarre car accident and just escaped death? So grab your tissues already, because these insane football player stories will make tears roll down your eyes. The last one is so traumatic. Let's start. Childhood traumas and tragedies shape your life, don't they? Frank's life had never been perfect. He was just a few days old when his biological parents abandoned him, leaving him on the footsteps of a monastery. I mean, who does that? But Frank was adopted by the generous Ribéries. As the time progressed, life got back to normal, and it was a usual day for the Ribéries, who lived in the beautiful city of Boulogne-sur-Mer, France. They were going out to run some errands when the 2-year-old Frank got way too excited and hopped onto the back seat. He was too young to know the importance of seatbelts. The car was on the main highway when a rash lorry driver stopped midway. Jeez, it was way too late to hit the brakes. Something tragic had happened. The car crashed into the lorry. My goodness, it was doomsday for the family. Young Frank went flying in the car, hitting the windshield. His condition was serious. He rushed to the hospital. He was bleeding profusely and would not have made it if not for the doctors. He received over 100 stitches, good lord! This left 2 very ugly scars on his innocent face. Frank recovered, but the scars were there to stay. After this accident, life became painful. People stopped and stared at him. He was deemed ugly. He was made fun of. Frank himself said, "People would say, look what he has on his face, look at his head. What is this scar? It's so ugly. Wherever I went, people would look at me." But even as a child, this man had the guts and resilience. On another occasion, Frank was quoted saying, "The scars gave me character and this strength. Because when you are a child and you have a scar like this, it's not easy. The way people see you, the comments, my family suffered for this." But over the years, he came up as one of the best football players of his generation. He was referred to as the jewel of French football by Zidane. Thank God this guy has had a good ending. But wait until you hear the story of a death that shocked the football world. The tragedy that stained Colombian football forever. It was the year 1994. The Colombian team had qualified for the FIFA World Cup. They had been on an unbeaten run of 26 wins, losing only 1 game. The nation's hopes were high. They wanted the World Cup. Well, who doesn't? The boys from Colombia, who had annihilated Argentina by 5-0, had the finesse to pull off anything. But maybe they got a little too cocky and hence lost their first match to Romania. The second match against the US was do or die, hit or miss. Everything was perfect until the 34th minute, when the Colombian captain and defender André Escobar put the ball into the net. Damn, but it wasn't in the nets of the US, it was in the nets of Colombia. Are you kidding me? Bro scored an own goal in a match that led to the demise of his team from the World Cup. But for Escobar, it had only started. The 27-year-old became the most hated person in the country overnight. He released a statement quoting, "Life doesn't end there. No matter how difficult, we must stand back up. We only have 2 options, either allow anger to paralyze us and the violence continues, or we overcome and try our best to help others. My warmest regards to everyone. We'll see each other again soon." But come on man, it's football and mistakes happen. To cool down the fire, Andres even released a statement. But who knew these words were going to be his last? A few days later, when life came back to normal, Escobar was having fun at a bar all night, and while he was leaving, a few men stopped him. After a heated argument, these men became the judge, the jury, and the law. They shot the Colombian captain 6 times, and with every shot, they yelled the word "goal, goal." And this gruesome death was more than an impulsive murder. The killer had roots which connected him to a drug cartel. These people had lost millions in gambling due to Escobar's little mistake, and this was the perfect chance to get vengeance. Oh God. The irony here is that at the time of his death, the FIFA World Cup was still underway, and his murderer was released after just 11 days. Damn, life can be cruel sometimes. Just like it was for Luciano Recaccioni. He was young, energetic, and athletic. He had his whole life waiting for him, but again, my man was a guy who loved to enjoy life. He had become a pivotal part of Lazio, and his career was taking off. He was jest, and his practical jokes always brought laughter in the dressing room. But mind me, this story has an end that you will not like. It was the evening of January 18, 1977. Cecconi and his friends Pietro Guedin made their way to the jeweler's shop in Rome, which is run by Bruno Tabocchini. Whenever these two guys got together, it was a recipe for trouble. Well, the same happened this time, except, oh goodness, it's tough. As the two lads entered the jewelry store, they decided to prank the owner. As the door opened, the two suddenly sparked into life, entering the shop shouting, "Hands in the air, this is a stick-up," while masking their faces with their jackets. But little did Cecconi know that this was going to be the last practical joke of his life. Tabocchini's jewelers had been burgled a few weeks ago, so Tabocchini was already paranoid, and this time he was ready to defend himself and his jewels. He produced a shotgun. This was it. He opened fire and shot Cecconi in the chest from close range. Despite being rushed to hospital, the wounded star died just 30 minutes after the incident. As he lay on the floor dying, the midfielder's last words were, "It's a joke, it's just a joke." It was a joke which was meant to end in giggles, but it rather concluded in misery and agony. But wait for our next story, because a routine visit to the doctor turned the Frenchman's world upside down. It was the year 2011, which began in the best possible way as the star defender scored the first goal of his career and saved FC Barcelona from an early departure at the Spanish Cup. But then, all of a sudden, his life came crashing down. One day, Eric felt severe pain in his stomach, and within the next few days, he was losing weight. He knew something was wrong. He went to his physician for a routine checkup, but little did he know that this pain was way more sinister. It was cancer. Holy God! This routine visit turned out to be a death statement for the French defender. He was diagnosed with liver cancer and he needed surgery ASAP. So on the 17th of March 2011, Eric went under the blade. Eric was quoted saying, "It is a pain I will remember for life. It was unbearable, like an open knife." The surgery was a success and Abidal returned to the field. On the 28th of May 2011, he was on top of the world when Barcelona won the Champions League in a crushing victory over the Red Devils. In a gesture to mark his recovery, Carles Puyol handed him his captain's armband and allowed him to be the first to lift the trophy in front of 85,000 people at Wembley Stadium in London. But life had other plans. In 2012, when Abidal was back on track, life stopped for him once again. His tumor had returned. Damn, and this time it was worse. He needed a transplant or else he was done for. But for those who take on challenges with courage, nothing can stop them. Abidal fought gallantly. He got a transplant and he was going to make a return stronger than ever. After a year away from professional football, he made an emotional comeback to the field on April 6, 2013 when he replaced Cesc Fabregas in the 70th minute of a league match against Mallorca. The fans gave him a standing ovation and his return symbolized his incredible strength and determination. Well, you see, there are happy endings, and this is what you call life. I mean, just look at Ronaldinho, one of the greatest football players of his generation, the magician with the ball. In March 2020, he left for Paraguay for a charity event, but as the events unfolded, the superstar was stopped at the airport. You must be wondering why some crazy fans surrounded the king. Well, you're wrong. The superstar and his brother were stopped by the authorities. What? And no, these authorities were not there for autographs, but rather they were detaining the boys. Jeez. Ronaldinho and his brother had committed a crime that had some serious consequences. They were held in a high-security prison in Asunción. The prison, known as Agrupación Especializada, housed inmates charged with serious crimes such as drug trafficking and organized crime. Scary, isn't it? Ronaldinho making drug deals inside a prison. Who could have imagined? No guys, I'm kidding. The football legend was accused of carrying a fake passport into the country, and his case got worldwide media attention. After spending 1 month in detention, the brothers reached a plea deal with the prosecutors and were released. Well guys, this tells us that no matter how influential you are, a crime can always get you into serious trouble. Well everyone, now comes the man, the myth, the legend himself, the little boy from Rosario. When I say little, I mean it literally. His childhood wasn't very pleasant. He suffered from an illness that made him different from his friends and other children of his age. He was small, he was delicate, and he was weak. He seemed like he was never growing up. After some serious thinking, Messi was taken to the physician, where he was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency. Can you imagine? One of the most popular sporting icons in the world was diagnosed with an illness at such a young age. Every night, Messi took injections containing the growth hormone. Messi, in an interview, stated, "At first, my parents gave me the injections from when I was 8 years old until I learned. It was a small needle. It did not hurt, it was something routine for me that I had to do, and I did it normally." Unfortunately, Messi's family was living paycheck to paycheck, and these hefty medical bills had put them in a tough position. At the age of 11, Messi was just 4'2". Damn! After 2 years of struggle, FC Barcelona came to Messi's rescue. The Spanish club paid for all his medical needs until he finished the hormone treatment at 14. Now you understand why Messi broke into tears during his farewell. His connection with the club was on a whole different level. They helped him grow literally and figuratively. After Messi got into the club, the rest is history. And oh, speaking of history, this one time Messi and Ronaldo nearly played together. Click on the link to find out.